start of another video. It's called Groggin to Goolwa. But we're going to follow the Murray from a little place up near Mount Kosciuszko called Tom Groggin. And it's a locality, not really a place, so I don't think I'll be able to send you a postcard from there. I'll have to send you a postcard.
What one from New Dotty?
New Dotty. We're gonna go from Tom Groggin to New Dotty, and then we're gonna go to Goolwa, and we're actually gonna walk out in the Murray mouth and have a bit of a paddle. Not much water there apparently. Anyway, the video's called Groggin to Goolwa. We're gonna go from here. We're at Haydn's place at the moment, Haydn and Caroline Twining. Say hello. There's Haydn. That's Haydn Twining, and Carolyn Twining's operating the camera back there. But we're going to go from here to, well, we don't know where we're going to sleep tonight. We're a bit behind schedule. And we're going to go to, I think we're going to go to Narcat, sleep tonight, and then tomorrow night will probably be at, well, you don't want to hear all the bits and pieces you'll see at the video. Turn your video around, and on the back you'll see a map. And on that map shows where I spend each night. It's very good, isn't it? But we're going to go from here to basically Ballarat, from Ballarat to Bendigo. You're writing all this down? Bendigo up to Glenrowan to Tom Groggin. Look it up on your map, you'll find it on the back of the video. And then we're going to follow the Murray down to Goolwa. Then we're going to go back home. Doesn't sound very long anyway, so we'll be on the road in a minute, so we'll see you then.
We come on down at the end of the freeway near Murray Bridge. We don't actually go through Murray Bridge, but this is where we cross over the Murray, and we're going on tonight. We'll camp at in Narcat Conservation Park, and just out of Keith, and cross over the Murray here, and we're going to follow the source of the Murray down to the sea. So, doesn't look bad here. A lot of water, a few boats there, nice housing estate, and we'll continue on and go through Keith and see if we can find a spot to camp for the night. Just came through Tintinara, and finally I'm off Bitumen, and we're heading for Narcat Conservation Park. We'll camp at Buck's campsite tonight. I've been through there before and had a bit of a look. It's a beautiful spot to stop for the night, so we'll go there, eh? It's a good little drive through here. I think we've left all the Volkswagens behind, eh? Well, I suppose you're glad I've stopped driving the car, but it was a fair run from Adelaide to here. This is a place called Buck's Campsite. It's in Narcat Conservation Park, and there's where Buck used to live there. And you've got to camp between the flags here and do the right thing. And they got a bit of a table there for us. We got a few trees, and we're parked over here. Nice and level, so we sleep nice and straight. Yeah, the old Dowdy went alright in the sand. It's a lovely spot here. Beautiful and quiet. We got tea going, as you might have guessed. We got a real gourmet special tonight. We got some continental. Very exotic, isn't it? Continental 3-minute pasta snack, pizza flavoured, 99% fat free. And in that we put in a bit of cream corn and a bit of, oh no, we can't do that. A bit of the curry tuna, and I think we might add a bit more of the curry to it. Can't miss out on the old sun, moon and stuff. I'm having trouble opening the tin up. Perhaps I don't open it up enough, or often enough. Put a bit of that in there. Stir that in like that. That's not quite bad. That's not quite that's not quite bad, I said then, but that's not bad, that stuff. I'm gonna have it with me roll. Must get me roll. I got some rolls in here. Might have a wholemeal roll with that, I think. From the Vietnamese French hot bread shop in Port Pirie. Baker's Delight couldn't satisfy me this morning. So there you go. So we'll have that. Cut that with that. Yes. Quite a run from Adelaide this morning. And it's good to get out in the sticks again. There's no one else here. Good to hear the birdies singing again. Yes. Yes. And this is where the adventure really begins, okay? Good morning. Very cold night last night. In fact, if you look on top of the car here, see that? The dew on the top of the car is frozen. No wonder I was cold, eh? Have a look at that. Isn't that absolutely magnificent? I got a message for Dave Warden. I'm afraid the old Dowdy's blowing smoke, mate. You haven't done too good a job. Have a look at this. I don't know, Dave. You try to do the right thing, get the car fixed up, and look at the smoke pouring out the back. Oh, I don't know. I think it might have something to do with the temperature of the air. I don't know, but we'll see how we go. It looks good, doesn't it? Hey, look at that.
There's a radio show.
Beautiful drive through here in the morning.
Have
a look at the mist and the beautiful scrub.
This vast timeless land, and they call it.
Be warned though, it's a ride in the park for us Nissan drivers, but Toyota drivers better take a bit of a warning. Narcat's a bit sandy, and I'm afraid you might be disappointed if you come back in Narcat and a Toyota. You're going to have all the strife in the world. So if you know someone who's got a Nissan, just go with them. Save yourself a bit of bother. But Narcat's a beautiful park. We're just at the edge now. This is the road out. It's so good. The road out here, Toyotas can handle that. But we've still got the mists of the morning left there, and the sun's now up. And we can probably come out of low range now too, eh? Well, that's the South Australian border gone. We're now travelling in Victoria. Well, there you go. You never know what you're going to see on one of these videos, do you? I was going through Bulla and I saw the bands playing and I didn't know what it was, so I went up and had a bit of a look around. And what they were doing, they have a sort of a band competition for marching bands in Bulla every now and again. And I went down the street and had a bit of a look, and they got the bands playing there, and they got the judges walking alongside of them. And so they're having a bit of a band competition. Could be the battle of the bands, eh? Yeah, just coming down into Horsham. If you look carefully in the background there, you'll see the range of hills, which is the start of the Grampians. Horsham on a very quiet Sunday afternoon. Saw this on the side of the road, and well, this is not too good. But have a look up here. Have a look. What's this? A dirty, great big koala bear. How much can a koala bear? Well, we don't know, do we? In the Grampians National Park now. We're at a place called Zumstein's, which is used to be a camping area, but now it's just firstly a picnic area here. And there's a delightful little bit of water going down there. It goes down the creek there. They've got a bit of a bridge down there, and there's people even sitting on the bridge. There you go. How's that, eh? Yep. Lots of people here today. Sunday afternoon, they're all out for a bit of a stroll. There's the road going through up there. And there's where people used to camp, up in there. Come on the bridge here, and we find there's another bridge just down there. But I think old Jack Galpin likes seascapes, but that's not bad, is it, Jack, there? Not bad at all. Just on the other side of the creek is where the Zumstein household was, where they all used to live, the owners of the place. Place is all deserted here now, except for visitors. And there is a few visitors. It's being a Sunday afternoon. It's fairly well patronised. Seems to be a fair bit of water around the place. Not as good as Jack's waterfall, is it, up Mount William, is it, Jack? We come down here, and there's a this is obviously where the cars used to cross the creek. That's the other bridge I saw from the swing bridge back further. All through here there's kookaburras and kangaroos and tourists watching the kangaroos. But all around it's not bad, is it, Jack? As old Jack Galpin would say, isn't that bloody beautiful? Very cute, eh? Just on our way, driving through from Zumstein's to Hall's Gap. It's a nice windy little road, and it's quite a drop off. So she's cut into the hills fairly well. So you have to look where you're driving here. You can't drive along here videoing with one hand and driving with the other hand and changing gears with your teeth, sort of thing. So we drive along here, and we'll go through Halls Gap, and might be able to work our way to our campsite for the night. Going to stop tonight if I can at Jimmy Creek, my old campsite I stopped last time I was in the Dowdy. Such a beautiful spot. Now see, here we go. How does he change gears while still hanging onto the camera and still steering? It's always got me whacked, that. You know. But never mind. We manage. That place at Zumstein's is absolutely magnificent. And that would have been an absolutely beautiful spot to camp for the night. But they don't let people camp there anymore. So that's that gone. It's just a day area. We're walking our way out to a place called Barooka Lookout. And I think you'll agree that the people who constructed this platform here might have had a fairly rough time of it. I wouldn't have liked to have built it here anyway. Oh dear. And there we do, we look down on Halls Gap. Halls Gap down there. And if you listen, you can even hear the music from someone's car. But I think you'll agree, that is a fantastic view. There you are, Jack. This is a panorama, mate. I don't do many of them, do I? Have a look at that. Come on, Jack, say it. Come on, Jack. Isn't that bloody beautiful, Jack? And here we are, 6 months after my last video, driving in the same direction through Halls Gap. There you are, Louise, that's one's for you. A lot of tourists in town today. No one wearing masks. I didn't get to choose my campsite all that well tonight. I don't know. What I reckon's happened is I've struck a campers convention. But Jimmy Creek campground was full of campers. Wasn't one single spot for old TB. Anyway, have to talk very quietly tonight, don't we? Shh, wabbits. We got skinless frankfurters, baked beans. You've seen me eat this stuff before, haven't you? And a bit of curry. So we won't. Yep, that'll come up good. Yep, we're at the Barook, spelt B-R-O, Look campground near Halls Gap. And it's quite near the road, so you can hear the cars, which is going to be good at night, eh? But we're here in on the in the campground. Look at those cars going past there. It's going to be lovely in the middle of the night, isn't it, eh? Good morning, good morning. Here's something you don't often see. Frost. Where a couple of weeks ago they had a bit of a scrub fire go through. We got frost on the ground. The sun's just coming up over there. There's the fire break they pushed through. And she's a little bit cool here this morning, a little bit nippy. going down that way. Had to show you this. On the line into Ballarat. They're reconsolidating the ballast on the railway link. All very good, eh? Welcome to Ballarat. We're at a place called Sovereign Hill, full of tourists and school children, which is all very good, eh? And, we've got one of the miners going down with a few diggies there. Shows a bit of a mining, shows what the old mining settlements in the 1850s, 1860s was like around Ballarat. There's some people up there panning for gold. Shows a method of breaking up the soil, and that he walks around in a circle, and being a tourist attraction he gets a bit sick of walking around in circles, and we are being inundated with school children as we speak. Well, what we got here, we got the horse who goes round clockwise or anti-clockwise, and we got a big wheel up there, a bit of a drum. And we've got a steel cable attached to that, and it winds around and comes back. And the cables come up here over the pulley, and of course if he goes clockwise, one rises up, the other one falls down. And then if he goes the other way, the other one rises up and falls down to bring up the soil from the bottom of the shaft. We got Constable Plod up there. He's not too happy with the children. They seem to be misbehaving, he reckons. So he reckons he might go down and Constable Plod reckons there might be a bit of sly grog on this wagon. We'll see where we go, eh?
Alright, you! Pull that thing up! Pull it up! Yeah, well, we heard you might be carrying something on there. Yeah, water. I know all about your water. What about the spike rock you carry?
What's like that?
What spike rock?
What's like that?
What do you think we're distributing or something?
Have a look, there's only water in there.
Yeah, I'll be the judge of that.
There's nothing else in here, it's just water.
Yeah?
You taste it.
Yeah, well I reckon you're carrying it somewhere.
Nice, clean, fresh water.
Yeah?
Yep. Cleanest swamp water in Ballarat.
What is?
We're locked in. Have a look.
That's your
I
flash.
know it's been a bit of a drought. Let's do lunch then.
What have we got here?
Oh, that's marijuana!
Shut up and get out of here before I put a bullet through you.
You do that! That is cocaine! That's heroin! $10
What have we got here? What's this?
I saw you! You had that before!
What do you call this? Take it!
Now, the only reason why we call the meddling, the blacksmith meddling or interfering is mainly because it was his job to make the gold pure. So that's what we're going to show you in this room, exactly what he had to do, what he actually did to do that process, because it is a very long process, but also it's a very simple one. We also talk about how they found gold here at the Ballarat. That actually fills the time in very nicely. So before the blacksmith could actually purify the gold that had to be found, but here at the Ballarat it was found in 3 different ways, 3 different mining techniques. So it was actually a progression of gold mining here at the Ballarat. The first was called alluvial mining. Now sometime today, I suppose you're going to be given some free time. You'll therefore race down to the creek, try and dig up a bit of dirt, wash it by the pans and the sluice boxes we have down there in the hope to find some gold. Now if you're very good at gold panning, then that's exactly what you'll do. You will find gold because there is gold in that creek. And you're quite welcome to take it home with you if you like. And this is what the people did when they first arrived at the Ballarat. Exactly that, it was called alluvial mining, so they actually dug shafts looking for this dirt. But it did only last for a very short amount of time because although there was plenty of gold here, it was very easy to be found. Thousands of people arrived, so that gold became very hard to find in a short amount of time. But deep level alluvial mining, as I said, was simply digging, instead of digging shafts, these miners tunnelled into the ground. It was very dangerous. They had to tunnel anywhere from about 100 to 180 feet. They had air flooding, the occasional caving, and just some of the problems they did have to face. Now, as I said, the original mine shows you what that's about. It's a very good tour. It takes about 12 minutes, so you will have still plenty of time to look around this on the hill. But the third and final stage of mining here at the Ballarat was quartz mining. This time, even working deeper into the ground again, these miners were looking for reefs of quartz rock that look like this. Sometimes, Mum, sometimes, isn't it? Are you going to be a good boy? Yes? This is when I put my school teacher voice on. That's all, lad. You sit there with Mum. Let's get the hell out of it. Did I do a good job there being a school teacher, sir? Oh, I'll get back to it. All right, quartz rock. This is what they were looking for. They were now working at a distance of anywhere from about 1,000 to 3,000 feet underground. Now, 3,000 feet were roughly a kilometre into the ground, so something else happened here at the Ballarat, and that was steam power became very important. As you wander around Sovereign Hill, you will see quite a lot of steam engines. They were used all over the place, and one particular place was a battery house, and that's where they took this rock. In a battery house, and it's very similar to the one next door, you'll see large metal hammers that will crush that rock into a very fine powder. As they crush the rock, they mix water. The result is a slurry, best described as a muddy water. To get the gold out of that slurry, they would then wash it over several tables, but they'd also use a particular device we call a mercury tray. Now, they only used mercury even though they knew it was dangerous, simply because they knew that gold and mercury is what is termed chemically attracted to each other. All that really means is that like two magnets, gold and mercury, are once near are drawn together, they will stick and bond, thus forming a putty-like substance we call amalgam. Once they had this enough amalgam, this is when the blacksmith had to get to work. To purify the gold, he firstly had to separate the mercury from the gold. He did this with one of these, which is called a retort, although this is a very small one. So lifting the lid, he would place the amalgam in this bowl, seal that shut, and then put this over a fire. The reason they did that was simply because they knew mercury has a very low boiling point. So the mercury is going to boil before the gold, the gas and vapours will rise, escape through this tube, and that will separate the two. A pretty simple process except for one thing, and that is, of course, mercury is a poisonous gas. So if the blacksmith actually breathed those mercury vapours, insanity or even death was the result. They could solve that problem very simple by just putting the end of this tube into a bucket of water, which stopped them from breathing the deadly gases. And the gold left in there still isn't pure. So there's one final stage to go. They then took the gold from the retort and placed it into what we know as a crucible. Now they were usually made from clay and graphite, just happened to look like the piece I'm holding here at the moment. Once the gold was in there, they would also add a powder substance called flux, so it would melt this all down. But the reason they added the flux was only to trap the impurities. Here at the Ballarat, the gold was nearly 22 carat pure, so there was very little metals and silver mixed in with the gold. They had to get it out, and they did that by this smelting process. So as the gold melted, so would the impurities, they would float to the top. Mixing with that flux would create a crust. So as the blacksmith poured the gold out, the crust would float to the back of the crucible, or would stick to the sides, and that's how they actually separated the two. The gold that they were pulling out by this time was what they were after. It was 24 carat pure, or as they call it, 99.99% pure. So just checking the gold to see how it's coming along. It should just about be in the smelting process. It is. The clothes I'm wearing are very similar to what a miner's blacksmith wore. Leather spats to stop any hot gold from actually falling into their boots. The gold is solid and would bounce off there, they hoped. The flannel shirt and apron only protected the blacksmiths from the heat of the gold. Now I do have to put on some more safety equipment, unfortunately, because even though we want you to feel you are in the 1850s, we must follow work safety practices. The gold itself will melt at a temperature of 1063 degrees Celsius, but we have to take it to about 1200 degrees, simply because we know that gold does become solid rapidly once it leaves that furnace. We can only have a short amount of time to actually do this demonstration, and we also must ask your cooperation. The other thing we really ask from you is that you do not come any closer than what you are at the present moment. Now this gold's just about ready. We're going to pour it into what we know as a cast iron mould, and that's what's sitting in the sand bed. So here we go. Inside that crucible, it does give you a very good idea of the temperatures I was talking about that we do need to smelt the gold. As you can see, rather hot in there. Now I've also noticed I've left a little bit of gold behind. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. It really doesn't matter, that'll just come out of the next gold ball. Or maybe not. It's feeling unlucky at the moment. Feel like to come down then and lick the bowl out and get a piece of gold out. Yeah, definitely. Of course you'd understand it's a stupid thing to try and do, so we won't really do it. But that gold, as I said, was taken to a temperature of about 1200 degrees. But I should point out that there is one thing about gold that we like, and that is it is a very good conductor, so it does lose its heat quickly. A lot of the heat from that piece of gold has actually gone into the base of the mould. So we do know, or we are told, that from about 1200 degrees, that should be about 900 degrees Celsius at the moment. Also, if you remember, I said it became solid rapidly once it left the furnace. We'll just demonstrate that briefly. As you can see, it's not splashing all over the place, and also it does sound very hard. But just because that piece of gold is solid, if you're looking that you couldn't be bothered going down to the creek, they shoot, and couldn't be bothered going down to the creek looking for gold and seeing this gold here, now would be a good opportunity to come over here, grab this, and perhaps run off with it. There is one more demonstration I think may change your mind about even thinking about it. And as you can see, that piece of gold is not quite ready to go anywhere just at the moment, so it's still extremely hot. We'll just take it out of the mould and let you see how it looks. Then we'll bring it around for a closer inspection. Now I'll start here, work my way around. I did say that piece of gold does lose its heat quickly, but I also have to point out if you were to let it just sit on that tray, let it cool naturally, we will be waiting for about 2 to 3 hours before I can safely handle that piece of gold. Now it'd be stupid sitting here for that amount of time, so we do use the tub of water to help cool the gold down. As you can see, that piece of gold is quite safely handled. And what you're looking at is what I said from the start, 100 ounces, 3 kilo of 99.99% pure gold. Worth today, approximately 55,000 Australian dollars. Now, I was just wondering, has anybody actually held $55,000 worth of gold? You haven't? You'd like to know, wouldn't you? Yeah, well, it's not happening today, so don't worry about it. Yes?
Aren't you ever tempted to sit at the table?
No.
Why not?
Well, because I'm an honest blacksmith, that's why. I better finish the story of the gold mine. From the journey of the earth, I think we've covered that because it does go from the distances I was talking about. Why would I bother saying to the depth of the gold? Well, simply because once the blacksmith was actually finished purifying the gold here at the Ballarat, it would then be sent off to Melbourne to the banks vaults down there. But I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm feeling in a pretty generous mood today. Who can tell me the melting point of gold? I did say it earlier on. Yes, sir? Very good, sir. You were listening, aren't you? Yes, young lady. He could be right. He might be wrong. Yes?
1,200.
1200 degrees. I'd like to ask the kids this. Anybody else want to have a go at it? Just be game to be different. Oh, pretty close. Oh, I like that. Anybody? Goodness. You're worried, aren't you? You're sitting in this. What was that, sir? 1,063. You're very good, sir, aren't you? Good to teach this. Yes, young lady. What's your name? Carolyn. Carolyn. Stand there, Carolyn. Very good, thank you. Just stand there. Yes. Oh, where are we? Yes, big fella. Come down here. Carolyn. We don't have to do all the gold on behalf of the girls. What's that? Very sharp. So it's not like that. We should do it. That's not nice. It's heavy now, isn't it? Very good. And your name, sir? Happy. Thank you very much. Very good. Just a sharp piece there, just be careful. You might want to turn around so we can get it. It is, isn't it? Actually, gold is actually twice as dense as lead. This is where part of the weight comes from. The piece of gold that we've used and what you're looking at the moment, I should point out to you, is the only piece we have. So we do actually melt this down on every demonstration we do. It doesn't hurt the gold. People seem to worry about that. That's the most asked question that we get is what we do to hurt the gold. I can assure you it doesn't. It does remain around 3 kilos and it does remain 24 carat pure. Now today this is going to be melted down at least 8 times. So we have been working for over 5 years, I suppose, nearly 6 years now. Minimum times is 7 times a day, and the only day we have off is Christmas Day. So if you want to do the maths, you can work out how many times that's actually been melted down. Too hard. If you get around to about 12,000, you've about got it right. Now all I actually have to do now is turn some alarms on. We open the doors over there, that'll lead you out to our shop. I don't know what the teachers have in store for you, but I do hope you enjoy yourselves here today. Thank you very much for your time.
Now, there are 2 points in the mine. One is when you be asked to duck. If you don't duck, you'll hit into one of those beams there. They are not very nice. They will knock you for 6, so be aware of that. Okay, you've got plenty of warning. Also, it's important to mine where there's a water shower. Don't go through the water shower, wait until it's completely finished, and then proceed through the rest of the tour. Goes for about 10 minutes, as I said. Any questions? There you go, sir. You're our leader. Off
You go first, mate.
Take your time.
Right-o, lads, we go on. You at the back, keep up. Stay together.
Is it always this wet down here, Uncle William?
Ah, boy, we're up to our knees in it.
What the hell's that?
Don't worry, boy. They planning to pull out old timbers on this shift.
What for?
Well, when the working is finished, good timber and uprights will come out and use it. I don't want you lot hitting your heads on roof. Still with me? I don't want to carry you out of mine, so watch out.
Oh, duck down. I have to duck down there. We got an audio tape leading us through from place to place.
Let us know when the way's clear.
Oh, here's this water.
It's up here. Now see here, those are the sets. You boys will be start working on tonight with James Thomas here. There you, James.
Say you, William
Now
Tracay.
listen well what deep leads be. We're looking for gold in the bottom of a flowing buried river. We do sink the shaft down below the river to drain the water into the sump where the pump is. See, mining is done across riverbed in tunnels about 40 inches wide. They be timbered to protect water from unstable gravel and rock. Rich wash dirt and maybe nuggets are taken out in trucks.
Have you found any nuggets, James Thomas?
Well, nothing to send them on, Rich. Biggest so far we 45 ounces found a few days ago. Here you, Richard Jeffrey.
Yes, so.
Leaks all clear. You can carry on.
You lot, follow Richard Jeffrey and learn something about mining.
You there, Richard Jeffrey?
You new boys, you follow me?
I'm following.
Come on.
Come on, Lively.
Hardship will be over before you know it.
There's someone behind you.
Just hiding in the corner.
I can't believe it sometimes. Me, a Cornishman, working in wet, stinking deep bleed. Nothing like this back home in Cornwall. Many's the time I wish to be dead. Sooner work for miserable pennies in this awful place. Must find gold soon. Pay for trouble and expense. Bloody water, filthy slush, never ending. Look at it. Your life. So gold. I know it. I know it. There it is. There it bloody is. There it is! Look at it! It's a miracle! A bloody miracle! Boys! Boys, come quick! I found one bigger than a house! Boys! Come and lend me a hand! I need to get it out! Oh, yes! Yes! That's it, Jeffrey! What's happening? Oh, look at what's it! What? Look, boy, look! Oh, dear life! I never seen such a sight, never! Nothing more than 2,000 ounces in it! About 10,000 pounds, I bet. 10,000 pounds. We're all real. Enough money for us to become gentlemen in Ballarat. Oh, say, you Richard Jeffrey. Gentlemen, yes. Better than Boys, come and lend a hand. We found one bigger than us. Come and give us a hand. You've done it this time, Richard Jeffrey. You've done it, boy.
Now you boys, turn round. I mean all of you, turn round and walk down the tunnel with lights on.
That way, guys.
No good going in dark tunnel, you'll be dead by morning. You walk this way. Quickly now. This way.
All right.
Right.
We're going. You keep them lights going.
took 4 boys to move it. Big as a house, and small, I saw. 'Twas Richard Jeffrey, was. Stop here and stay together. You lot in front, walk right up to handrail, so boys behind can see Nugget. Move along now. Move along.
We're coming, we're coming.
We're coming, we're coming.
We're coming. Oh.
This is the nugget found by Richard Jeffrey on the evening of Wednesday the 9th of June, 1858. He was one of the mine's 22 Cornish owners. Ballarat's gold yield had seriously declined, and the discovery of this spectacular nugget provided welcome relief, so it was named the Welcome Nugget. Found at a depth of 60 metres and weighing almost 69 kilograms, it was the world's largest mass of gold in a virgin state ever found. It is still the second largest behind only the Welcome Stranger, also discovered in Victoria. The Welcome Nugget was sold, sent to London, and melted down for coins known as sovereigns. Today, it would be worth millions of dollars. You may now walk to the end of this tunnel and exit the mine.
I reckon we're still going down bloody hill.
We are. You know what that means, don't you?
Oh, he said there's, what, 52 steps or something?
Yeah.
Oh, well, it wasn't as bad as the catacombs I went through in Italy.
And we're back up into daylight.
Huh?
Good old daylight.
Oh, the sun's still shining.
Well, thank you, and I'll bid you a fond farewell.
Thank you.
The 1860s, 1870s steam engine running the water pump. That little basket going up and down there is the ballast, and at the other end there is a big water pump. That pumps the water up along into the collection bin there. Comes along, and when there's another engine here driving that cog, it drives the hammer mill, or the gold mill, crushes up the rock back there, and it comes down through here and is mixed up with the water, and those tables are normally shaking when it's functioning, and the gold is found in the ripples of the tray down there. All rather good, eh? Sovereign Hill is a recreation of early Ballarat, or a suburb called Sovereign Hill. very authentic.
Later the Commonwealth Bank, demolished in 1966, and the familiar National Mutual building across the street. The north side of Bridge Street, now the pedestrian mall, heading west to the beginning of Sturt Street, Saturday, September 28th, 1907. We're standing on a flat truck pushed along by one of Ballarat's newly installed electric trams. Mr. Twentyman's trader's shop, William Bennett's jeweller's shop with Ballarat's largest selection of clocks. The gap in the buildings is the bridge over the Arrowby Creek which gave Bridge Street its name. The General Drapery Arcade of James
When the Gold Museum here at Sovereign Hill, and apparently the creation of the facade at Sovereign Hill, the mining settlement we saw, was very accurate, very accurately recreated. Especially the history of Sovereign Hill here. We've got the Hand of Faith. All facets of early mining shown here. Some very interesting photographs. Well, what do you think of Sovereign Hill? They got it's bigger than Kalgoorlie, and there's a lot more to see, but it's virtually the same as the setup at Kalgoorlie with the Paddy Hannon mine. All very good, all very interesting, and thoroughly worth the trip here to get it anyway. Ballarat's a very big place. Bit of a nightmare to try and find your way around. I've got a map. I grizzled with a little girl in the shop down there, and she said, "I'll give you a map." Well, Nora, she's a map, but can't read any of the street names. Only one name I recognise, that's Bendigo. Well, I've got to go out the Bendigo Road. So we'll go out there. Going to try and find a campsite. I bought myself a book here. It's called The Cheapskate's Guide to Camping in Victoria. And it's supposed to be a little campsite, 18 k's out of Ballarat towards Cressnock. Well, considering it's 13 k's to Cressnock, it's a pretty good map. So we're going to try and find that place. It's a little bit like a Reading reckoner there trying to find their directions, but especially when you don't know the place. So I'm going to go that way. And my GPS says I've got to go a bit that way towards Ballarat. We're going to try and find our way out of there, and where we going to camp tonight? Salty Creek Campground. I've got a yes, Jessica, I'm eating again. I got a ham savoury roll, but unfortunately it's got a raw onion in it, which I like, but unfortunately raw onion, I sort of eat it for about 24 hours, so we'll see how we go on that. I'm getting low of Coke. I'm getting running out of Coke in the fridge. I got a couple of cartons up top, which will probably be just as cold as the Coke out the fridge, eh? By the way, listening to the weather report, weather conditions in Victoria are stabilised for around about a week. And they're, so that means we've got frosty mornings for about a week, which is going to, I've never been so cold in my life. Anyway, we've got a week of it. So, I better get used to it, eh? We'll see if we can find our way out of Ballarat, eh? This is the top of a little peak called Mount Franklin. We're camping the night in the car park down the bottom, and it says little track up to the top, and we've taken that little track, and we're now at the top of Mount Franklin. Yay! Mount Franklin! It's near Hepburn Springs, named after Audrey Hepburn, actress famous for Deliverance. No, African Queen, Wally. There's the Castle Main Road. Not a bad view, is it, Jack? Just thought I'd show you the last rays of the sun shining down on my campsite. This is a beautiful spot, especially after last night. There's only one other car here, and I think that might be just a day tripper. Everywhere you go in Victoria, there's little men out the front weaving up leaves. I don't know what's going on. This is a beautiful spot here in autumn, eh? Mount Franklin Reserve. Free camping area. Got little tables up there. You've got your own little bogger up in the hills there. Absolutely beautiful. Be nice and quiet here tonight, eh? Got tea going. I don't know how it's going to turn out tonight. Come on. Oh! Robin, you're a very lucky girl. Huh? Well, it is Groggin the Goolwa, isn't it? Yes. Oh! Price tag. Have to take that off, won't we? This is a present for you, Robin, alright? For being such a rainbow lady. There you are. For being a rainbow lady. Tell you what, oh, that's not bad. I might have some more of that. Needless to say, I will give it a wash before I give it to you. Alright. Got more tourists coming down from the top of the mountain up here. But about have a look at the view, didn't they? Didn't know about the trees, did they? Magic spot, you know. Have a look at these leaves. They're all going to fall down. Everywhere you go, there's men breaking up leaves. Yeah, I don't know how this is tea going to go tonight. I'll have to give you an explanation of what's in it. We cut up a potato. We cut up an onion. We put them in with a bit of water. We stuck in a stock cube and a bit of rice. And we're going to let that simmer away for a while and see how it goes up. If it doesn't come up good, I'm going to bang some of this in. Product promotion. Express 99% fat free 3-minute rice. But unfortunately, I got the quantities a little wrong, I think. There's only one potato and one onion and 3 teaspoons of rice, but it's coming up to quite a quantity. What do you think of the mine tour? very, very samey with Kalgoorlie, but still worth seeing. There was also a couple of other things I could have seen in Ballarat. There's the Eureka Stockade, and it's all the heritage of the main street. Could have walked up and down there. You could have spent all day at Sovereign Hill, all day. But we're going to Bendigo tomorrow, and I got a little book. You saw me last night with the book, free no-cost miser campsites all around Victoria. This is one of them. I'm very impressed. I couldn't find the first one. First one I looked for outside of Ballarat. I don't know. The directions are up the creek. I tried to find this one, and I had to ask at a garage. I get lost very easily, you know. Had to ask at a garage. Anyway, we're going to sleep here tonight. It's going to be cold again. But we'll handle that, won't we? Hey? We'll handle that. And there they are. He's driving off now. So we'll see you in the morning. Oh! I might ring Dave Warden up tonight. We might put that in the video. Ta. Just outside of town of Malden, on the way to Bendigo, is the British mine site, and there's the old tailings dam behind us there, and in its heyday it was quite active. There's what it looks like when it closed in 1926. And there we've got the engine room and pump house and boiler room over there, and we've got some kilns over here. We'll go around the back and show you the back of those kilns now. Used to fire up in there and load the ore up in there and heat it up. And there's the kilns there, and of course heating it up made the quartz rock brittle. And you saw those hammers at Ballarat, that hammer mill. It used to smash, sort of thing like that. Used to smash up the rock and make the extraction of the gold a bit more easier, or part of the process anyway. This place was instrumental in inventing or discovering the drill that was used by a lot of places all around Australia to extract the quartz or gold bearing quartz from the underlying layers. Part of the boiler room and engine shop and machine shop and everything here, which is all very interesting, isn't it? But the path along here has got is made of quartz. Every now and again there's a big piece which probably comes from the quartz that they were mining here and they were processing here. But really, all these little towns along here are absolutely magnificent. As I said before, I think Victoria is wasted on the Victorians. Little towns about every 20 or 30 k's apart. They're all beautiful. Absolutely magnificent. It's just like the Adelaide Hills, only it goes on forever.
park on our far left. The cenotaph on our left was a gift to the city from the late Sir George Lansing. Apart from its smaller size, this memorial is identical to its counterpart in London's Whitehall district and is used for Anzac Day and Remembrance Day services. The famous Alexandra Fountain marks the true heart of Bendigo. Designed by Carolyn and Geshman and unveiled in 1881, it's named after the then Princess of Wales, Alexandra. The fountain's recently been restored, bringing to life the classical female figures and their aquatic menagerie. View Street runs up the hill to our left and is Bendigo's arts precinct, featuring the Bendigo Art Gallery, Capitol Theatre and some of our finest heritage buildings. The Soldiers Memorial Institute on our left, with its dome roof, sits right over the old Hustlers Royal Reserve mine. And deep below us lies the Hustlers Reef, one of the richest quartz reefs ever discovered in Australia. Speaking of quartz, take a look at the statue on our left holding a lump of quartz.
My name is George Lansing. With Belgium, thousands of my ancestors come in search of gold here to die outside of the world. Chinese, our proud history is displayed with many of the golden dragon of the sea.
And how is everyone? Where are you from?
Wollongong.
Wollongong, South Coast. Oh, welcome down.
Victor Harbour.
Victor Harbour.
I'm with the lady.
Oh, you're with a nice lady there?
Yeah.
Port Perry.
Port
Port
Perry.
Perry, another South Australia.
Welcome across. I hope you're enjoying yourself.
Thank you.
Ma'am.
Brisbane?
Brisbane?
Well, actually, outside Brisbane.
Well, we've got that's all right. That Brisbane's near enough. Canberra. You know Johnny well. How are you, sir?
There you go. Crystal Brook.
Crystal Brook.
South Australia. So you know the gentleman over there from Port Perry?
Oh, yeah. I don't think.
You know all Perry.
Everything will tell you about our trams.
I don't think he knows.
Well, I give you a very warm welcome to Bendigo. 1903 saw the start of our overhead system to drive trams electrically. Unfortunately, 1972 saw this system finish as a public transport authority, and we became the Bendigo Talking Trams. The idea was to keep Bendigo heritage alive by using Bendigo cars. But as you can see by number 16, the road, the system was so run down and the tram so neglected and not maintained very nicely, this was proved to be impossible. So what we have done, we have decided to go national and keep national heritage alive by using cars from anywhere else in Australia we can get them from. As a result of this, the car we came up on, number 31, came to us about 1980 from Melbourne. It is what are called a W-class tram, and together of another 6 of them, we had then had a nice system running. Car number 122, the one just out in the front of us, and car number 5 ahead of us on this side, these were 2 of the trams that started the system working after they completed their system of the trams. These 2 cars still work and they are still part of our fleet, and we have actually got now a car from Adelaide. Who's from Adelaide? Oh yes. Went over there one night, back here the next morning with one of your bay trams.
Like on a semi?
Hun?
On a semi? Or
on a semi, yes. We don't muck around. We then went up to Brisbane. Came back here with a silver bullet. So we have gone outside our state and got 2 more. So we are starting to try and get some cars from everywhere.
You're definitely just a tram. No, you weren't trying, but I like it pretty well.
We're now heading into Caledonia Street. Then we'll turn into Butler Street, which leads up to a whole lot.
Number 9W.
descend 61 metres underground for Australia's most authentic mine tour. It's unforgettable. Apart from gold, Bendigo is famous for its tree-lined streets and is sometimes called the City of Trees. Ironically, during the gold rush, the diggers chopped down just about every original tree.
Regional Institute of Taste. Please also note the old Niagara Hotel.
My name is Reg. I'll be your guide this morning. Please don't hesitate to ask questions. I rabbit on quite readily, quite easily. So don't hesitate. I may not be able to answer them all, but please ask. Now we're standing outside the original opening, which started in 1912 down to level 1 and was abandoned until 1934 until the Central Level took it over. They went from level 1 all the way down 17 levels, which is about 412 metres down. Now, if you're familiar with the Rialto in Melbourne, Rialto?
Yes.
2 of those can fit in there with just a little bit sticking out the top.
2 of the Rialtos.
One on top of each other. The Empire State can fit down there with the tower just out the top. Now don't worry, we're not going that deep. Because we don't issue flippers and snorkel, because after level 12 the water starts. And that was part of the reason why these mines closed in 1954, ending 103 years of continuous mining. There were 6,000 mines in Bendigo, and as they all closed down, and because of the price of gold, which was very, very stable, ruled by England, I think they set the price. Second thing, there was a war going on in the post-war era. Men and materials were very hard to get, and this being one of 6,000 mines, as they all closed down, the water that they were pumping out flooded into this one, and they couldn't cope with the quantity of water, so in November 1954 they closed. And just down the road, when you finish the tour, you can go up the top there and have a look. Straight over the corner there, due south, is on the tree line, you'll see the poppet head of the North Beaver. So the reefs, line reefs run north-south. Now, the men used to go in these cages 4 at a time. They had to be reasonably slim and very friendly. And they dropped them down all the way down. And down to level 2 where we're going, it took about 20 seconds. We're going in a larger lift which takes 90 seconds. That way you get to take your breakfast with you. And they would lower the men down to the level, and one would be at the brace, where the brace man worked all the time. And he would put in the empty ore truck here, and as the full ones came up, he would take them along the trestle, and it was the grey stuff underfoot he would dump either side of the trestle. There was no fence up there, so when you go for have a walk, there was no fence either side, so he could dump it either way. And any ore, which is the white stuff underfoot, he would take along here, put in the ore bins there, and it was taken over to the Devon mine to be crushed. Now there is a crusher down the back here, but it wasn't used here, it was over at the Central Devon. We're going down equivalent to about an 18-storey building. And when you get on the top, have a look at the poppet head. It's 22 metres tall, and we're going 61, so almost 3 of those. It's like going into a supermarket after you've been about 1,000 times down here. So. And we dress like this because this is the way the miners did in the 50s. I do my shopping at the op shop. Just here, it works like a chimney. The warm air below, because the closer you get to the centre of the earth, or Hades, whichever you prefer, the air is warmer. And it rises up. And as it rises up, it drags the air from the element all the way around. So it's virtually perpetual motion. The air down here is circulating all the time. Closed meaning altered. And this here is one. This here is slate. We're looking at the end grain. Remember I told you we're doing a cross cut? It's like a book. We're going along the end of it, but when we do a drive, we'll be going down the pages. The rocks will be smoother. And you'll see these all over the place. Now, if they'd have gone to the surface, and larger, of course, they would have been a volcano. But because they didn't reach the surface, They're called Monchacite dikes. Now, this here is called the New South Drive. Nothing to do with the state because the South Drive is over there. This is the new South Drive. And we blasted this out about August last year. And we intend to go in behind the line of reef, which is just here. Because it just, as I told you, it's just up here. And it goes down there. And it goes that way. And we're going right into the middle of it. So it's just up here. And see how the rock is all blocky? Because instead of mesh, you've got splits that way and cracks that way. And they put W plates up. You're in trouble, or you're not in trouble, but the rocks are in trouble when you see that and mesh as well. Okay, we'll go up here and find some. And it's all the rusty stuff there. This yellow stuff here is sulphur. And remember I told you how the rocks all cracked? There's the solutions of silicate there. Probably would have been, I don't know, I wasn't here then, a couple 100 million years ago, probably would have been about the consistency of warm honey trickling in and solidified. Now the reef virtually starts here. Goes behind the post, around here behind this Cornish lady, over here, and it becomes, it's got slate in it. Come on in. And then it becomes laminated. Got slate, quartz. Now this was taken out and deemed to be very rich. That's why we're doing the South Drive, New South Drive. Here's another Monchacite dike. And here's the reef here. And if you look over behind here, you see the other side of the reef, the other Monchacite dike. Go off that way a little bit. Just up a bit, up there, and down there. You can find it easily.
Is there, that goes down to
Yeah, that goes down to level 3. That's part of the level 3, the adventure tour.
You said about the DCW plates unwashed, the rocks in trouble.
Yes.
They'll put me in front.
Right, yes. I'm glad you remembered it. All up here, look, because we're right in the middle of the anticline. And that's why they never go to show on an anticline, because it's yards and they follow reefs and up and around and above us and all sorts of things. But there's no air up there. The air comes down the Alamac and around the corner and up the smoke box. So to get air up there, they had to use this machine. That would force air up there. The air, because it's still, it's warmer than what the air is here that's moving. It would go up the smoke box, fresh air from the downdraft of the Alamac, which was cooler, would come in underneath. Now we get fresh air that way. They had these way back in the late 1850s and early 1860s. They were driven by steam. And there's one down here on the left, and it's called the Screamer. It's aptly named, that I can tell you, because it sounds like a 747 when it's taking off. And down here it's incredibly loud. So we don't use it anymore. So, yes. Down here. I think the New Caledonian had it. They went to 100 feet and said it was too hard, so they abandoned it. So they sent a few men over here 6 months before they set up the steam engine. And they used what they call a hammer and tap. You've probably heard that in Cornwall. Tap men and hammer. And what they did, it was just virtually a chisel. They used about a 10 or 12 pound, this is only about 4. And they would hit it, quarter turn, hit it, quarter turn, and so on. So we would hit cut the rock, all the way around. It would take 2 men 3 hours to drill a hole 1 metre deep. And they needed at least 21, up to 24, 2 metres deep. So it was a very, very slow process. But they didn't hit it like that. They hit it like this. Sometimes they missed.
Oh.
The fella holding the tap had less fingers than anyone. And they went from level 1 down to level 2, along the crosscut, to centre country where the crib room was. And that's when they got the steam engine and they used the drills like this one. This one, 59, 63 model. It was, you had to, it called the stroker, just went backwards and forwards like a piston engine stroke. And the first one was manual. After so many strokes they stopped it and turned it manually. But later on they put a gear in it, but by then it was too late because the 2 men working in close proximity was breathing the dust that coated their lungs, and they died of monostosis or silicosis of the lungs 15 years after they started operating one of these. So they became known as the Widowmaker. Seriously, what? This one here is called the Drifter, American machine. It was bought here, mounted on a machine bar. Vertically, it was sometimes used horizontally. down in this mine that was mostly used horizontally, and they used to have to bring about 36 drills down here because they become blunt very quickly. And in 1945 they introduced the tungsten tip, and very, very hard metal. It was inserted by the blacksmith, you can see it in there. It also had a hole in the drill, which went full length of the drill. So when they operated this machine, a little lever like that would turn the water on, the water would flow down the drill, out the end, keep the tip nice and cool so it didn't blunt quickly, and it kept the dust down. It didn't eliminate miners' tightness, but it certainly slowed it down. Now, this one here is the air leg. It sits on a leg of air, like so. They would anchor it there. One man would hold it, the other man would hold it here like this and collar it in. Once it was collared in by a foot, he was right in the right spot. Those of you handy people will know when you use a drill, sometimes it skids all over the place. Same thing, it had to be put in the right spot. I'll show you how it works. A little bit of water, a little bit of air. Any victims? I mean volunteers? Western Australia came over here and introduced it, and it was called the Bendigo drag cut. They didn't use it much, and they blasted this out, and then they went up like so, stopped, this went in, and that came down, all in one series of explosions. They didn't make 3 separate lots, and that's the way it worked. This one here is the wedge cut, and they would drill in at a very slight angle like so, and they worked on the principle when you cut a cake or a pizza, you cut the wedge out, the rest of the cake or pizza is easier to cut. So they would blast out the middle in wedges, and then they would blast it in and blast it down. Now, it wasn't used much either, but this one here called a post hole, that's the weakest part of the rock face there. And what they would do, they would try and make that hole bigger by putting the blast either around it. Then to make it bigger again, they would set the explosions further out, because what they wanted to do was remove the rock from this line up to the circle over to here. Leave the rest. They didn't want the rest of it touched because they'd have to shore it all up. And what they used originally in this mine was powder, black powder, hence the word powder monkey. You've heard of that? That's why it was called the powder monkey. Then they graduated to gelicanite and the old safety fuse, and about 30 centimetres of this gave you a minute to escape. 60 gave you 2 minutes, approximately. Some were faster and some were slower. So the idea was to have time enough for these fuses to go off to escape, and these to come off later. So it was a mathematical challenge each time they set it all up, because they needed these to go off first, second, third, fourth, and so on. Okay, nowadays we use power gel, about 1/3 of a plug, same at the New South Drive back there last August, and they would put this impact detonator in the power gel, trail the fuse out the hole, cut it off. Then they would fill it up with AMFO, with this thing here, like a reverse vacuum cleaner, and as it filled up, then they'd put it in another hole and start again. And they would end up with all these fuses hanging out, and it was all full of AMFO, which is, you see a lot of people buying this, and they've only got buying a lot of this, and they've only got a postage stamp backyard. Report them please, because it's highly explosive. They used it at Bali, same stuff. Now, then they put on an electrical detonator connected to these, and they set it off with sound waves using a mobile, similar to a mobile phone. So nothing can happen while this is going on until they connect this, and it becomes dangerous. And the impact of that detonator would set these off. That's the way it works. Now, a small favour. Just up, alongside, behind, just here, you'll find a little switch. If you'd like to it's going to be dark shortly. Just turn those. Turn it off, please. If you keep turning, they'll come back on. That's it. Beautiful. Now.
I'll put my hand over it.
Yeah, that's it. Now, this is about how dark, this is about how bright a carbide light is. And the man was working at the light, at the rock face, one at the plat, and the fellow pushing the ore trucks, because he was on wheels, he was in the dark. Very dark down here. Now the first set of explosions went off there, around the post hole. Second set went off there, wider out. Third set there, fourth set there. The backers up the top would loosen the top, and the 4 lifters would lift about 20 ore trucks of rubble out where you're standing. Now, what we need is a powder monkey. Here we go. You hold that for me. I'll turn your light on for you so you can see what you're doing. Now, when I tell you, will you press the red button and then let it go? When I tell you, because I'm just going down this way.
Yeah.
Okay, press the red button. There you go. Your light, you've got your light on there. You can turn your lights back on. Any idea how many explosions?
7.
Any guess?
7's a good number. 14.
14, okay, that's been better. Because look, 4, 8, 12, 16, 19, 23. That's about a full face. Sometimes they had about 12 or 15. Now, when you go up on the surface, the second building as you come out of the vestibule on your left, as you go in there, turn left, go around the corner, in the middle display area, you'll see a man knelt over like so. Count the fuses in the rock and then press the button alongside you. Make sure they all went on. Because in the old days, when they didn't go off with the fuses, the powder monkey's job was to come in here. If only 22 went off, he had to pull out the fuse. Sometimes he got there and went boom. A bit like Donald Duck. He wasn't paid enough.
In one of those explosions, how deep does it go?
That deep.
Oh, that's one set of explosions.
That's 1, 2, 3 sets here.
Right.
About 2 metres they went.
Oh, fair enough. That's fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair day.
About 10 or 12 tonne of rock, maybe more. Anyway, down this way please, the bogger. Because they would come in the morning and they'd be confronted by about 20 ore trucks of mud and slop, because during the night the mine would flood, the water would drip down on top, and instead of being nice clean dirt, it was just boggy stuff. And they would set up the machine bar horizontally across the pile of rubble. And they would put the drill up and they would start drilling the top holes and all the way down to the bar. Then they would turn the drill around and drill the bottom holes, just like so. So, while they were drilling the top holes, he's a very energetic young man shoveling like mad to get rid of 20 ore trucks by the time he got halfway at lunchtime. So they went through a lot of shovelers, I can assure you. It was very, very hard work. They had to have it removed so they could drill the bottom ones. Then they would charge the face, retreat to a safe distance, fire the face, and then go home for the night. And then bail it all out all night and then come back and start all over again. Now this machine was available in 32 but never used in this mine because it required rather a large area to work. Because most of the Cornish miners, the Tutman, they dug very, very small tunnels in the tin mines in Cornwall. Here they dug them slightly bigger, but it still wouldn't cater to this piece of machinery. Very dangerous machine. I'll show you how it works. It's a bit noisy. Now, you put any part of your body over there, it was chopped off. It was articulated, you pushed it to go that way, pulled it and it came that way. You steered it. And they would really drive it into the rocks. And when they pulled it, the tendency sometimes was to put under there. Now, sometimes, and it has happened recently, about 5 or 6 years ago, one of the mine managers drove it in. And it was done quite frequently in the mining era. They would go underneath the rock ledge that was still attached to the face. And when they went to lift the bucket didn't come up, the machine came over the bottom. That's probably why they didn't use it. I would be reluctant to use it, especially if it was only paid about $25 a week.
We're on the freeway out of Melbourne towards, well, Sydney. Albury Wodonga goes through to Sydney. So this is the freeway between Sydney and Melbourne. And it's going the best direction away from Melbourne at the moment. Well, good evening. We're in a caravan park tonight in a little place called Dorado, which is a little place out of Wangaratta, just off the Matilda Highway. And we got tea going tonight. A little bit late. Well, it's not actually late, but the sun's starting to set a little bit early on me. What have we got here? We got, I don't know whether you can see that. We got some strawberry jam, some bit of the campus friend, and we're just going to have that on this funny shaped wholemeal roll. Bought it, where did I buy that? Ballarat. Oh, for all of you people out there, I don't know whether you can see this, but do you people know what this is? It's called an infringement notice. Yes, I got picked up by the fuzz. Wasn't for speeding though. Not indicating while I was doing a U-turn. Ah, well, never mind.
No one has to pay a speeding fine unless they speed.
Fees and fines facing annual increases include speeding fines, police fines, driver's licences, motor registration, court fines, land transfers, boat registration and even plumbing. All up, the indexation of fees and fines will raise 112. Speeding fines will increase by the inflation rate from July next year, helping the government to keep the books in the black, the projected surplus averaging almost $400 million over the next 3 years. And after allegations of employers rorting the system, the government has raised the payroll tax.
Also got $105 out of the Intrepid Explorer, didn't they? Hey, while I was there, he said, oh, you got to blow in the bag too. I blew in the little whistle. And he said, have you been drinking? He said, I said, no. He said, oh, that's good. You've registered zero anyway. So, what I might do, in celebration of that, I might have one tonight, eh? Good morning. It's another cool morning. I'm just outside El Dorado, and behind me here is what's called Cook's El Dorado Dredge. And it's sitting there in a bit of water dug out for itself. It used to dig into the bank here, through those little buckets there. And with all those pulleys there, buckets used to go up and down, and it's all rather impressive, isn't it? They said out at El Dorado Caravan Park, he said, just go out of town, look at the thing, it looks like a bloody big shed. That's it there. We're going to go around the side in a minute and I'll show you how big this machine is, eh? There's those pulleys and the buckets down there behind the reeds. If we zoom out, you can see how big this machine is. It's a very impressive machine sitting here at the banks of Reedy Creek. It sort of dug its own little creek on the way through as it's going along. I don't know whether it's still floating or not. It was after gold and tin. With a name like El Dorado, you can imagine it was a gold mining area in Victoria. It's now famous for gemstones as well. But this is, it sort of dug its way in here from Reedy Creek, and it dug its own pond here. And quite a beautiful site, eh? Quite a beautiful location.
Haven't struck gold yet. Beechworth. Out of Beechworth there's a four-wheel drive track to Yakadanda, and this is obviously where the fires from last summer went through, that went through to Canberra. So all this bush, all these fires burnt through to Omeo and then through to the ACT. They're just starting to recover now. Bit of colour down there. It's going to be a while before the understory comes back though, eh? Quite an interesting little road. I'll probably be spending the night somewhere along here. I've spent a bit of my time panning for gold in the Reedy Creek area today near El Dorado. The man at the caravan park said that someone come in with 1/15 of an ounce of gold the other day he found in the area, but I didn't find it, eh? One of the creek crossings here. Hear the water trickling through. The water is running black. But have a look at these beautiful tree ferns. Absolutely magnificent. They've resprouted. And they're loving it at the moment because there's no competition from anything around here. All the blackberry bushes have been burnt. There's was all blackberries around here, I think, the prickly vines. As you can see, the base of the little creek here is black from the bushfires. Yakadanda. Standing on the side of the road, Main Street, all very touristy. The only thing they're not touristy about Yakadanda is this dog. He's going good. There's the old Nissan Dowdy over there, and Nissan's going well. And there we go, Yakadanda. One thing I have noticed, no flies. Isn't that good? Going to spend the night here, I think. Saw this spot on the side of the road on the way in. Absolutely